Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to your 12th session of book clubs across borders between Islamabad and Balkh. The book that we are discussing today is In Other Rooms, Other Wonders by Daniel Moinuddin. This book is basically a collection of short stories which Daniel Moinuddin got inspired by the real life characters around his life. Um, this book also talks about different classism that Pakistanis face in the rural Pakistan. So before we go towards our students, I'll ask my colleague Eamon to give her views on the book and share a summary from the book. So Eamon, over to you.
Right. So I'm just going to give you a little summary on In Other Rooms, Other Wonders, a collection of short stories by Daniel Moinuddin. So basically, I think the thing that stands out about this is that it depicts social realities. All the stories, they kind of are interlinked to one central family of this patriarchal kind of landlord feudal family that owns land, right? And it's heavily entrenched in the cultural and patriarchal system of the area. And basically, all the other characters of the story revolve around that particular family and the landlord in question, right? And all the other characters are people who are either affiliated to him in some way or are part of the help of the entire area, but are connected to that particular social and cultural fabric of that area. And so the entire collection of short stories sort of acts like a mirror for Pakistani society, and it reflects the social realities of Pakistani society. So popular themes, I would say, across the stories include observations about the social, political, and economic fabric of Pakistan, cultural and patriarchal undertones depicting women's lifestyle and how their gender roles are restricted, how there is no space to maneuver around, and that they have to do it in a very sort of a restricted manner. Social mobility in itself is quite an issue. And basically a reflection of Pakistani society, right? And crude reality. So that's one thing that stood out really in the entire book, that all the short stories depicted very crude social realities, that none of them were crafted to kind of create a happy ending for the reader, which is, I mean, it's not that harrowing or anything, but it does kind of reflect the dilemmas of a person living in Pakistani society, the decisions that they have to make, and the confrontations that they have to do whilst living in this society, and the decisions that they have to make, basically. So themes, therefore, then include even to an extent deception, tragedy, social wrongs that are committed, abandonment, lack of social responsibility, and the general experiences of various genders, people from different backgrounds and classes, ethnicities, etc., in a patriarchal culture. And these are the themes then that are not just of the stories, but also of our society. Even there's even a story on the legal and political structures and the routinely tragedies or the routinely dilemmas that people of Pakistani society face. Family systems are discussed and how people try their best to assimilate in family systems, but how they kind of conform to certain expectations and ideals, how the sacrifices that they make. And particularly, I would say that a lot of stress or focus is given to the kind of restricted social mobility and opportunities and privileges that women face, right? Especially in feudal or social structures, right? And the stories that really stood out in this were Salima and Provide. And they also kind of depicted the crude realities of the nuances that exist between marriages, relationships in general, male-female interactions, as well as social expectations out of marriage and those interactions. And I think I'll just end on the story Lily and how it kind of touches upon that one theme or factor of discussion that is tabooed across Pakistani society, which is of sexuality. And the entire story is an attempt to make you question sexual ideals, expectations, conforming to them. And yeah, so these are the themes that mostly the stories face, talk about.
I am Huda Shfaq from Kohinoor Grammar School, Islamabad. I read the book In Other Rooms, Other Wonders by Daniel Muinuddin. This book highlighted the oppressed socio-economic conditions of our society through short stories. All the main characters of these stories were struggling for their economic stability, and this struggle made them to earn illegal money. They were dishonest, they were corrupt, they did not know that they were selling their self-respect, their dignities in order to gain economic stability for themselves, for their children, and for a better future for themselves. This struggle for the economic stability made the Nawabin electrician dishonest and corrupt. He started deceiving his own master to get what he wanted. This struggle made Salima a toy in the hands of other men. I like the writing style of this writer as he very delicately describes everything that happens in our society, and all of the things are true because living in the same society I can realize that how truly the writer has written all these things, how much truth is there in his words, and how he expresses his thoughts in them. I love this thing in his stories, all of the stories, that how he perfectly describes all the things that are happening in our society. We do not realize that how bad we have become as a society because all of these things are because we are in this society, and I want that this do not happen again because people are losing their lives because of these economic conditions and oppressed socioeconomic conditions, and they're losing their respects and their dignities in hands of this all. I don't want things like this to occur, and hands off to Daniel Muinuddin, who wrote such great stories highlighting all the truths in our societies so that people can realize and open their eyes in front of this thing that yes, we are the ones who are responsible for these things that are happening in our society, and so they should not happen in the society. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ms. Kamran from Kohinoor Grammar School, Faisalabad. So I read this book In Other Rooms, Other Wonders, which is a really good book. It comprises of 8 different stories which are linked to a person named KK Haruni, his family, his relatives, servants and employees. KK Haruni is an old landlord in Pakistan. So the book is quite interesting, and the major themes which I want to discuss about, which I found in the stories, were social class difference, power and influence, and that nothing lasts forever and everything eventually comes to an end. So the first theme, social class difference, an example of it I found when Husna, a relative of KK Haruni, moves to his house to seek employment, and when they both enter a relationship, the relationship is not supported by people and even his daughter because there is a social class difference between them. They belong to different social classes, as Husna's relatives and family had moved to a different social class and they were not as high class as Haruni was. And his daughter even demands that Husna should not be present while she visits her father. So even when Haruni died, she was sent back to her village and not allowed to stay in the house anymore. And this is an example that social class difference really affects the life of people in different ways, as if a person if two people from different social classes enter a relationship, the relationship would not be supported by other people because it's seen as something really strange. You belong to a different social class and one who belongs to a lower class, and when you enter a relationship, how can that be possible? It's quite strange to people. And power and influence, the symbol for power is money, because when a person is rich, he has power over the other person who is poor. And how an example which I want to give is from the story about a burning girl, that the rich people, the wealthier, can bribe the judges so the judges can make a decision in their favor. Like in About a Burning Girl, the judge accepts the bribe, and obviously the decision is given in the favor who gave the bribe, and the bribe can only be given by the richer person. So it really affects the people because the lower class people cannot get their rights properly. They don't afford to bribe judges, obviously they can't get the decisions in their favor, and the one who is wrong can even pay for the decision in their favor, so no one can call them wrong, and the lower class people don't get proper justice. So these things are really disturbing as well, because they are present in the society. There is corruption in many fields, and the rich ones, the wealthier ones, have influence to get what they want. And this is the theme that I found in almost every single story. So social class differences can be in other ways too, which are discussed in the book, and it's a really quite interesting book that I found because it revolves around what is actually happening around us in the society. These all things are present, so I found this book really good, and I would probably recommend anyone to read the book. And that's all I want to say about that book.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle, and this is my review on In Other Rooms, Other Wonders by Daniel Moinuddin. So the book explores the unseen and darker side of our society and follows the life of K.K. Haruni, a feudal lord, and those around him, his servants, his drivers, his maids, and even his gardeners. And all of these people play a big part in the story, as it don't only really talks about filthy rich people or those that are very, very poor. We see Haruni in the final years of his life. He lives in Lahore and owns a farmhouse in Dunyapur. His wife, who is estranged, does not live with him, and throughout the book we see how his views differ with his wife's. Book is based in Pakistan, and as the country is called the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Islam really isn't talked about much in the book. It's obviously targeted for Western audience, which is understandable, since many people in our country don't read books. Anyhow, we see how desperate people are for money and how they are willing to do anything at all for it, be it sleeping with someone or stealing. Women, yes, women with influence or without influence use their sexual appeal to have things done their way. If they want to gain power, or if they want anything at all, control their husbands or whatnot, that's what they do. We also see very Pakistani things in the book, such as corruption, and which almost all the characters are involved in. Although Moinuddin, I think, has compiled wonderful stories, the endings are disappointments, for me at least. Except that one story set in France. And all in all, the book is targeted for Western audience and portrays an extremely exotic image of Pakistan. That's what I think. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for connecting with us today. It was lovely hearing from all of you. Keep on reading, keep on sharing books, keep on exchanging books with your friends, and we'll see you next time, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.